Hello and welcome again to another episode of Battle Ready.
Ready.
And today we have completed our tour of Gallet.
Except for Turf War. You're doing Turf War.
And
Turf War's done.
we have done all, except for Turf War, all of the battle plans, and we thought we would discuss our favorites and why we like them. And the important part about it is this is all from a very casual perspective. You know, in the battle plans, sometimes whether or not you've got Galatian veterans and bounty hunters and expert conquerors in particular can have huge impacts.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that in some tournament lists, it can be very popular to bring lists with no veterans.
Why?
Right? So that way you don't have to worry about bounty hunters killing your guys. Right?
But then you don't get the expert conquerors buff.
You don't get the expert conquerors buff.
And you just have bounty hunters running around to protect your guys.
Yeah. So that's we're gonna put that to the side. You know, that doesn't mean these are necessarily the best ones for tournament play, but these are the ones that we enjoy the most from a casual perspective, and which ones we like. So we basically broke them into 3 sets of 4.
4, 4, 4.
The top tier is like super good.
Yeah.
We really, really, really like them. Middle tier, it's fun. It's fine. It's good.
It's okay.
There's nothing. Well, for me, except for Turf War, I wouldn't mind. I think I like them all. But the middle tier is middle. It's fine. It's good.
The ones I have in the bottom, I disliked.
And then the bottom tier
is the ones.
For me, they're all ones that I feel like if I never played them again, I wouldn't cry.
Yeah.
But other than Turf War, I think that I could play any of them and I'd have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
But I would never pick them. I would always pick something in the top 2 tiers.
Yeah.
So what's interesting is we made our lists independently.
And we chose apart from each other.
There's some significant overlap, but then there's a couple things we're going to disagree on, I think. So let's go through it. So in the top tier, well, let's go off my list and then you tell me where you disagree.
Okay.
All right. So top tier. In no particular order, among the top tier, my 4 favorites. The first one is Prize of Gallet.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah,
I really like
We
Prize
both
of
like this one. This one is really, really fun. It has 5 objectives, but only one is available. Only one turns on in the first battle round.
2, 3,
and then
4, and 5.
Each battle round after that, another one turns on.
So you can
and the person who goes second gets to pick.
Yeah. So if they have the center one, you could just choose the one that's like covered by trees.
Exactly.
Which is the way we had it.
And that's great because that gives a really good bonus to going second.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you go second,
point or choosing the proving ground.
just getting because the proving ground's like.
I guess
it's okay.
A battle tactic.
Proving ground's okay.
I get that.
But it's not a super good.
That's on an exchange list.
Well, that's for the General's Handbook. That's not a core rule.
Yeah.
But yeah, proving ground's okay. It's not the best. But being able to determine which one turns on next is great. And it really evens out that who goes first, who goes second. Mm-hmm. And there are times when you roll it and you're like, you know what, I really want to go second so that I can turn on the objective that I have control of, right?
But the problem is you also might want to go first and just start.
Might want that double, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a good balance, right? Mm-hmm. So that's one reason I really like that one.
Because you could go second, turn on an objective that's close to you, hope you get the double, and snatch it.
So the second one that I think we both like is Realmstone Cache.
Yes, I like that it exploded.
Yeah, this is the one. It starts with a single objective in the middle for the first 2 battle rounds, I think. So. And then between battle rounds 2 and 3, it explodes into 2 pieces in 2 separate directions. And then you've got 2 objectives for the rest of the battle. That one is so good because it incentivizes everybody to sort of meet in the middle in a big crush. But you can't just go all in because in a couple of rounds you're gonna have to go in 2 directions. And then that fighting sort of spreads out in 2 directions. And so depending on how the first couple of rounds went, you could get real thin or your opponent gets real thin and you're like, all right, I'm going to be able to crush it and head towards the other objective. Mm-hmm. It's really fun because it makes you want to commit at first, but you also need to hold something in reserve. Yeah, I had some
squigs. Held it in reserve and I just booked it when I saw it.
Pretty cool. So this one is one we disagree somewhat, but in my top tier list is the Mighty and the Cunning.
No.
Well, you have it
in
mid tier.
Medium.
So we're not that far apart on it. But this is the one where you get bonus points for killing Galatian veterans and extra bonus points if they were contesting an objective. And the reason I like that is because first we play with a lot of veterans, right?
Mhm.
We just embrace it, right? We don't have any lists that are veteran lists. Veteran lists.
Veteran list.
But I really liked it because we use expert conquerors all the time. And so you wanted to bring those guys on there. But then it was a big liability because if you might control the objective for a round, but then if they get killed off the objective, that's 2 bonus points you're giving your opponent for killing off your veterans.
On an objective.
Woo! I like that. Anytime there's tension like that, where you have incentives trying to do one thing and incentives pushing you the other way, I really like battle plans like that. That's why I liked Mighty and Cunning.
I didn't like Mighty and the Cunning that much because our veterans are usually some of our cooler guys. So when you throw them out there, it's just instead saying, it's like you have a big red sign saying bounty hunters come.
Bounty hunters come here. Well,
and
I feel like
you just get to pick up your toys.
For sure. But I feel like bounty hunters are always going to try to get your veterans anyway.
Yeah, but
and it sort of reminded me of Fondia, where you get a bonus point for killing monsters, right?
Yeah, but at least then monsters are super hard to kill.
Yeah, I could see that. And they
have nothing anti-monster other than the kill bow, except for monsters.
I could see that. So
it's just picking up your cool toys that have special powers.
This one, though, is one of the few that we disagree on the most. And this is in my top tier, and I think it's in Drake's bottom tier. And that is Won't Back Down.
No.
This one I really liked.
No.
This is the one where all units get a 5-up rally, which is great. And then if you're on a veteran, or you get a 5-up rally on an objective. So anything contesting gets the rally. And then if you're a veteran on an objective, you get a 4-up rally. I thought that was so cool. Once again, it really incentivizes, veterans are already at a little bit of a disadvantage because bounty hunters are so powerful compared to veterans. So giving them that rally where they could just keep coming and really hold the objectives, I thought it was super cool. I really liked it. In fact, you used the rally more than I did when we played. And I thought it was super cool. I thought it was really fun. But you didn't like this one.
No, because you can only rally once, and you have to be out of combat to rally. And usually in that game, you're in a big crush. So that rally thing, if it did pop up, it just didn't seem like.
Well, the nice thing though is you can rally on either turn. Mm-hmm. So what you do is on your turn you retreat, and then on their turn you rally in the hero phase, and then you get a bunch more guys.
Yeah, but that's the exact problem because then when you retreat. Even if you rally on their turn, they'll also be able to rally on their turn. So they also have a big amount of guys to just rush you with. And then you gave up ground, and it's supposed to take the 3 center objectives. So you're just giving them ground every time you retreat.
Yeah.
So that's why I didn't use that strategy. I just didn't really like it.
I don't know. I thought it was fun. I thought it was fun having the models come back. It's sort of like when I've played Slanesh and you get that 5-up rally. And suddenly I'm trying to rally, big guys on slick blades and stuff like that. And it's fun seeing those guys come back. I do like that.
But that battle plan is like what happened to Osterk. They're all getting crazy stuff. They're all getting the heat knight stuff.
I like it. I liked it. All right. Going into the middle. So these are ones that maybe they're not my favorite, but I would be happy to play any of them.
Yeah.
I think they're all fine. I would enjoy any of them. Not my favorite, but good. Solid picks. So the first one, and we both agree this is mid-tier, is Battle Lines Drawn.
Yeah, that one really favors the Horde armies, though.
Yeah, it's interesting because he doesn't have any objective. Instead, you break the battlefield into 4 quarters, and you sort of treat each quarter as an objective. Mm-hmm. And then whoever controls the most quarters you get points based on controlling quarters rather than controlling objectives. So it's interesting. It's fun. I think it's fun to sort of have that because then you could have guys contesting. Because sometimes we'll do contesting an objective where I just barely get some veterans on the edge and take it from you without fighting, right? Yeah. And in the quarters, that's much more possible. It's very doable because there's so much space, right?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I put it in the middle. It's also, for me, sitting right, if I put these in order, it'd be right in smack dab in the middle between bad and okay. Because that was not Soul Blight. So if you just had a pack of 40 veteran zombies, plop them all on, you have 120 bodies. And I was Nurgle, so I felt that was a little hard.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is I think when we're thinking about these battle plans, we have to think about them sort of in the abstract because some of them are going to be way good. Like we'll get to one that's really really good if you have a little bubble that can just sort of march down the table. But if you have the one with 8 objectives, that list is going to do terrible at it, right? So you just sort of have to think about it in the abstract.
But in the abstract, I still think it favors the elite armies a little too much.
So
because at least half of the armies that in the Warhammer world are more elite than others. So
well, I think basically any army. Yeah, you can build any army, almost any army, almost anyway. All right.
I just feel that's a little favoritive.
Next, again, mid-tier, and we both agree on this one as well, and that is the Lurkers Below. So again, this is what you set up on the short edge rather than the long edge. There's always a little bit of a pain.
Yeah.
But on the short edge, you have to control, there's 3 objectives, one on my territory, a middle one, and one on the end. You don't control any in the first battle round, which made battle tactics really hard. But then you can, starting the second battle round, you do control, but you have to control your side before you can control the middle. And then you have to control the middle before you can control the end. Mm-hmm. And there's no points. It's just whoever controls all 3.
Yeah.
So I liked it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was interesting that you really had to go from one stage to the next. And that's the one I was thinking of when I said if you've got a castle bubble that you can just walk down, especially because if I control the middle, I can sort of leave the one in my territory undefended, right? Because you can't get the one in my territory unless you control the middle, right? So being able to march that bubble down is really good.
But if you had something that warped, then you would sort of have.
That would be great too. Because if I have the middle, you could warp into my back lines trying to take my objective, but you can't. Yeah. Because you have to have the middle before you can take mine.
But then I just throw some dragons or something at it.
So even then, you can't take my objective.
This center one to take it.
But that's the thing, is it forces the fight into the center, almost like Realmstone Cache does, where it forces the fight into the middle. So that's why I still like it. I think Lurkers Below is good. It's just, I like that Realmstone Cache explodes.
Lurkers Below was just sort of a little more kill.
Yeah, it definitely is very, since you're not trying to get in positioning, you're not trying to position yourself on certain objectives, it very much is just kill the opponents as much as you can.
This would be the best battle plan for teaching someone. Because it's just walk your guys down the line and start fighting each other.
Yeah. And it does have battle tactics as sort of a tiebreaker. But yeah, you could totally teach somebody that if you wanted the simplest one, where it's just, hey, let's just run our models and who can push the other one over to the edge, then they're the winner. That's a good point. That is a good one. It might be the best battle plan for teaching.
All right, that's our next one.
All right, so our next one is in my middle tier, but on Drake's bottom, and that is head-on collision. So I put this in the middle because it's definitely one we've seen before. It's not unique, but there's 3 objectives, and instead of the normal scoring, you get 1 point for yours, 2 points for the one in the neutral, and 4 points for the one in the opponent's territory. So this one is, you do have to protect yours, because if you let it go and they've got the ability to warp in or whatever, you're giving them 4 points. That's a big deal. And but otherwise, the thing that was sort of cool about it is it goes in corners of the battlefield rather than just straight across like the last one. I thought it was fine. I would happily play it again. I would enjoy playing it. It's not it's not my favorite. It's not my top tier, but I would have a blast. I'd play this one anytime. You don't like it though, or I should say, it's in your bottom tier. Why do you say that?
Because it really favors another crunch in the middle. And we've seen that so many times that I just got tired of it.
Yeah, there is only one. In the Thondia one, there were 2 neutrals, each worth 2 points. So this one, there is only 1 neutral. But also, I like it a little bit better because unlike Lurker Below, where you have to, you can just crush into the middle, in this one, you have to hold something back because if something can sneak around the border and get to your back objective, you're gonna be toast. That's a lot of points you're giving up.
Another thing that I find a little iffy is you don't have to follow the center line, the normal line, you can just sneak around, all sneaky, and unless they divert something from their from their objective to go to fight that, you can just walk on in, get a good charge, and annihilate the center objective. Then you're fighting enemies on both sides in the center objective, and you take it.
Well, that sounds like good tactics, though. I mean, that's cool. I that's one of the reasons I sort of like it. Again, not my favorite, but I sort of like it because it does open up different strategies. And of course, if I know you can do that, then I have to take a more defensive strategy to avoid that. And then you, knowing I'm doing that defensive strategy, can alter your aggressive strategy to mess that up. So I sort of like it.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't like it.
Next, the last middle one, which we both have in our middle, is the silk steel nests. I like it. This one has 8 objectives, 4 on your side, 4 on their side. And at the end of each time you score objectives, you can burn one from the opponent's territory.
Yeah.
So the number of objectives will get smaller as the game goes on if you're burning them. And I love those ones. There was a Bernie objective one in the last one that I had a blast with. I like the ability to raid objectives. And it was pretty fun when we played because I made a big push on the east and Drake made a big push on the west. And we sort of went in clockwise motion, burning on each other's objectives. It was pretty fun.
Yeah.
I liked Silk Steel Nests. Again, it's not top tier, but it's solid middle tier. I would happily play it again.
Mine, like Battle Lines Draw, is sitting right on the fence.
All of yours are in the middle or sitting on the fence.
No, Lurkers Below and Mighty and the Cunning are chill.
Oh, those
Silk
are chill.
Steel and Battle Line are sitting right on the fence.
All right, what do you dislike about Silk Steel?
I don't like Silk Steel because if you have one good cavalry unit, it can just run in, smash your defenses that are usually like spellcaster heroes, and maybe one chaff unit. And so a fast cavalry unit can smash it, burn it, smash it, burn it, smash it, burn it. Well. And so you just lose all your objectives at once.
Well, you can only burn one per turn.
Yeah, but if you had multiple cavalry units, you could just take them all and then not burn them, and then you're just sitting with the entire battlefield.
If the other side has the cavalry units, right, you've got to defend.
Exactly, but you also need to push forward to take theirs.
That's the trouble. That's the game. I don't know. That sounds like good choices to me. That sounds like the game is forcing you to make choices, and anytime you have to make difficult decisions, that's what I like. If it was an easy decision, I'd be like, The difficult choices are really what make the game. All right, bottom tier. Now, to be clear, for me, all the ones in the bottom tier are ones I don't need to play again. I feel like
or
they're not
need
that
to
great.
Play if we're counting Turf War.
And however, other than Turf War, if somebody was like, if we rolled them up and we happened to roll one of these, or if somebody really wanted to play one of these, I could have fun with all of them. I don't think, other than Turf War, there are any bad battle plans. I think they're fine. It's just I would literally rather play any of the other ones.
Yeah, that's me, but with these. These are the ones I outright don't like.
You don't like all 4 of these, huh?
No.
All right, well, let's go through them. So the first one, let's get it out of the way, is Turf War. We both hate it.
We never even played it. We just know that it's bad.
Well, it's because it's standard. Everything's standard. Standard scoring, normal. Standard objectives, standard, except there's no reserves. So you have to bring your whole army on the table. And I hate that because what if your army is built for reserves?
Yeah.
Right? Those things you're bringing in that give you reserve powers are either allegiance abilities like Stormcast, right? Or Night Haunt, or you're paying bonus points to get Gut Rot Spume, who has that ability, or to bring in the flying girls from Daughters of Cain, who have that ability.
Technically, that's
part of their cost is the point is that ability. And so basically, if you have those, the battle plan is just saying sucks to be you, sucks to be you, and I really dislike that.
Turf War, if I was putting them in order, would be down here.
Yeah.
Just
so
down.
Now, if it had something else, if it they had the no reserves rule, but it also did something cool. It also had some other thing that was real neat.
Or you can put stuff in reserves, but you lose a command point every time you do.
Well, but even if it had the no reserves rule, but now the objectives are set up in a really weird way. Or you also have an attacker and a defender, and it's like siege rules. Or
we need siege rules.
If you could do, if it had some other gimmick, I might like it. But if the only gimmick is, haha, you can't play, then I don't That's dumb. I'm not going to do that. All right. Here's another one that are both in our bottom tier. Again, I guess Drake didn't like this one, but for me, I could play it. It's fine. Is In the Presence of Idols. This one was a lot like I can't remember the name of the battle plan from Thondia, but you would choose predator units, and if a predator unit killed a predator unit, you got bonus points. Mm-hmm. In this case, you get idol units, and if an idol unit kills an idol unit, you get bonus points. It's fine.
Mm-hmm. But if we were following the game lore-wise and casual player-wise,
okay,
it incites you to pick heroes, but the thing says you can pick anyone to be an idol, which I think is a little silly. Yep. How does the giant gobsprack think the little swamp collar shaman is an idol? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So lore-wise, it's super incorrect.
Yeah, there is that. I also feel like it incentivizes you to, because if your idol kills their idol, you get points, right? Mm-hmm. So you want a killy unit to be an idol.
Yeah.
Usually,
so it incents you to pick the cavalry.
But then it's well, my killy unit's an idol. Your kill unit's an idol. And maybe I don't want to send my kill unit against your kill unit. Maybe I have a good tar pit unit that I want to, get in your way so that you have to deal with that. And then my idols can go off and kill something more important. It's well, now the fact that they're idols really doesn't matter. Yes, people get a battle shock immunity thing when they're within 6 inches of an idol unit. Yeah. But it's the idols thing tends not to be that big a deal. At least when we played, it just tended not to be that big a deal. Yeah. Okay. Next one. This is on my low tier, but it's on Drake's top tier.
Really?
And that is the Nidus paths.
I liked Nidus paths.
So Nidus paths, basically standard scoring, but the two table corner edges are linked through caverns or whatever. And if you have a unit in one corner on the movement phase, they can warp to the other corner. Which
I think actually is helpful because if you're super far behind, you're just stuck because you can't make it, which happens several times. But if you're next to a Nidus path on this side, and the other Nidus path is on that side, and you need that objective to sort of help you win, you can warp over there and start going.
I think the problem I had with it, let's go down here real quick.
I think you pressed it.
Did I pass it already? Oh, yeah.
The first one you flipped to was, I think,
Nidus paths.
Yep, that was the first one you flipped to.
Yeah.
Because there's a Nidus path right next to it, so you can go try and grab it.
Yep. So the problem I had with it is there's only the objectives are in the center corners, I guess you could say.
I guess.
But in order to travel a Nidus path, you need to be within 6 inches of a corner. And 6 inches isn't that far. And so first I have to get my unit within 6 inches. Then I have to wait till my next turn to warp them. And then I have to wait till my next turn after that for them to actually move towards the objective. So while I like the idea of the Nidus paths of giving everybody a teleporting option, one, it gets super telegraphed when my unit hides in the corner, right? And two, it takes literally 3 rounds of that for it to be worth it. And I would just rather just jump, just go in and attack and fight. So I found that the gimmick, even though the gimmick is cool in theory, in practice, for me anyway, it just fell a little flat.
Yeah, for that, it's in the middle. It's another one that's on the fence.
You have it on your top.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's on the fence between that and that.
Did you like any battle plans? Every battle plan is it's in this tier, but it's actually at the bottom of the tier. All right. Next is Close to the Chest.
I liked it.
Oh, this is actually the last one we're talking about, Close to the Chest. Huh. So this is in my bottom, and it's in Drake's top. So again, we're a little bit of a disagreement here, but this is the one where...
we'll settle it by a duel.
Yeah.
That's how we'll settle it.
The territories are like L's, right? And...
L. 2L.
One was back. All right, the territories are like L's, and there's 3 objectives in mine, 3 objectives in his, and the gimmick is each round, when it's his turn, I pick one of mine to be the alpha objective, and that one's worth a bonus point.
I thought that was super cool, even if it didn't matter. I thought that was a cool thing that happens.
I agree. I feel the exact same way as I feel about the Nidus paths. It's cool in theory. That is a cool idea. But when we played, it didn't matter one stinking time. Because every time...
Did it not?
Not once. Because every time we just picked the objective that you couldn't reach. And there was never a time when I was going to have all 3 of yours, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was even a couple times when I had 2, when I was doing real well, but I never had all 3. And so on the third one, you're just like, well, that one. The one you can't get to. That's the alpha objective.
But if it did matter...
It's cool in theory. It's cool in theory.
But if in theory and in practice it had mattered and we weren't just being stink bugs about it.
Of course we were going to be stink bugs. What am I going to give you what am I going to pick an alpha objective you're going to get an extra point with?
But if it did work and we weren't stink bugs.
You're a stink bug. So I think that's my... you can look at my tiers. My bottom tier is basically things that were sort of like would be cool, but didn't really have an impact. If they don't have an impact, I feel like I'm just sort of playing standard Warhammer. I'm not really playing a battle plan. My middle tier are things that were all pretty cool, but they were either things we'd seen before, like head-on collision or silk steel nests, or they were things that were interesting, but not the like Battle Lines Drawn was the one where you control quarters, and there's no teleporting in Battle Lines Drawn. But that's what
that undermines
that. I know, but that's why Turf War is different, because Turf War is no reserves,
ever,
nothing else. Battle Lines Drawn is no teleporting, which at first I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. But then and now all the objectives, there's no objectives, it's battle quarter. So there is something else about it. That's why I like that one and I don't like Turf War.
Mm-hmm.
Then my top tier is stuff that I just think is so cool, that forces a lot of difficult decisions. Prize of Gallet, Realmstone Cache, Mighty and Cunning, where you've got a tension between putting veterans on or off, or Won't Back Down, which is just very unique with the way it interacts with the rally. Those ones are my favorite. If you could pick a theme for yours...
I would pick this one as the ones I dislike and would not enjoy playing again.
Really? You would not enjoy playing this? So if we rolled it up and it was head-on collision.
I would still play it, but I wouldn't have as good of a time.
Even Won't Back Down with the rally?
That one sucks!
I think maybe we're going to play that next time.
No! We have to roll it.
Okay.
For the middle, I'd say I enjoy it, but I would definitely 1,000,000,000% choose the top tier. And the top tier I like because it actually feels like you're doing something more.
So you're a little bit more down on them than I am then, because I love the top tier. The middle tier for me are all fun. They're all fun. I would happily to play any of them.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be if I was picking, it wouldn't be my first choice, but I would have a blast playing any of them. And then the bottom tier, I would not cry if I never played them again. But other than Turf War, I could play any of them. If we rolled it and it was like, oh, all right, in the presence of idols, okay, let's play it. I would still play it, and I would have a good time, I'm sure. They just wouldn't be anything I would be eager to play. So other than Turf War, I don't think there's a bad battle plan in the bunch. Of the 12, I think 11 of them are good battle plans.
A better reason I'd pick the top 4 as my favorite, because they really just changed. We'd never seen anything like it. We'd never seen the warping between corners. The Realmstone Cache, it exploded.
Yeah,
we've had an
all
objective
4 of yours are very unique to this battle pack, for sure. This
the way
handbook.
We've seen one that went together, so it's sort of in reverse to Realmstone Cache.
That's
4
true.
objectives, 2 objectives.
That's right.
1.
That's true. That was a fun one too.
Close to the chest, I forget its battle plan, but what was it? Special battle plan?
Close to the chest is the one where you pick an alpha objective for a bonus point.
I like close to the chest, but if we weren't being stink bugs about it, I would have liked it more.
You're a stink bug.
You're a stink bug!
Well,
if I was a stink bug, you were.
Hopefully the takeaway is that the vast majority of these battle plans are really fun. And we might differ a little bit on the exact ones we put in exact places. I think we got more than half that are all in the same spots. So. So anyway, I think if you're in a casual play, this is a great battle pack. It's super fun. I actually like it more than the Thondia battle pack.
I like the Thondia more.
No, I like this one more. And I like the Thondia one. Yeah. But I like this one more. And
the Thondia thingy, the battle tactics were actually achievable every turn. as opposed to these, which are
I
literally.
like the battle tactics way better that they're harder. I like it way better that they're harder.
I liked
because in the other one it was just like most turns there were 2 or 3 you could pick, it'd be fine.
Yeah, but the way with these, they're almost like grand strategies were back in Thondia, where it's so hard to do.
I don't know. I don't think they're that hard.
And plus,
you
some of them
do most of them all the time.
Yeah, but I still haven't memorized their rules.
Well, that's a memorizing thing. And we played Thondia longer than we played this one. So anyway, those were our picks for favorites. Definitely tell us in the comments what your favorite battle plans are and why. I would love to see, particularly if you disagree with us and you think that Turf War is the best plan that ever was. And we would love to hear about it. We love that people disagree. And until
we
then,
like them to disagree.
Sure. Yeah.
So that some people might be like me and say mac and cheese is gross.
Yeah, this kid doesn't like mac and cheese. Can
no.
you believe that? A kid who doesn't like mac and cheese is ridiculous.
When I eat one noodle, I spasm on the floor.
He's a bit dramatic. All right, but this has been another episode of Battle Ready. Thanks so much for watching.